Hey YouTubers, it's Joe here. Just wanted to come on and do a video today really about getting your band started in the music side of business. It's a topic that's discussed everywhere, I know, all kinds of websites, YouTube videos, and it's a lot of great information out there. And I kind of want to come on and give you kind of a tutorial, maybe a step-by-step guide of what my band did to kind of keep going and kind of get us to the next level, which we're still working on by any means. This video is not obviously to try and make you a rock star or anything like that. It's just information that my band has done, and based on our own research, conferences, other YouTube channels, other websites, other people in the industry that we've learned from. So hopefully this video you find helpful. Anything that I talk about as far as like certain websites, I'll link below in the description, so you have that and you can kind of click on those and get more information or anything like that. The first thing I would say that I think a lot of bands maybe don't do, and we didn't even do this until a little bit later on, is have a tough discussion about how far everyone really wants to take it. I know that's kind of hard to do maybe, but you need to kind of, I would say, clear the air on that. Make sure everyone's on the same page. If you have one band member who's just interested in playing a bar show maybe once a month or every other month, and then you have two band members who want to give 150% and are willing to basically sell the shirt off their back in order to make this happen, it's not going to work. So you just got to make sure everyone's on the same page. That's kind of a discussion to have. Like I said, my band kind of had that discussion a little bit after the fact, but we did kind of clear the air on that and just make sure we are all on the same page. So that's kind of important, I would say. And along with that is kind of determine, is everyone talented, and do you have good songs? I know that sounds, again, that's a hard conversation to think about or maybe even talk about, but you kind of want to say, do we got the songs? Do we got the talent? If something's slowing you down or dragging you, or kind of not hindering you, I should say, you kind of need to figure that out before you go into the next steps. Because if you do any of the additional stuff that we're going to talk about, it's a little tough if you don't lay the groundwork and understand that A, we're all into it and we really want to do this for real, and B, we all have the drive, the talent, and the good songs to try and make this happen. And obviously, saying good songs is a matter of, I guess, taste, and it's subjective, but you kind of understand what I'm getting at with that. So I would say the first thing to do that we did is create a vision statement. And again, none of the stuff that I'm talking about is you need to do day one when you start as a band. This is kind of once you really get to where you're like, okay, we really want to take this to the next level, this is when you kind of need to start working on this stuff that we're kind of talking about today. And again, so create a vision statement. Doesn't have to be long. It's like a company vision statement. Just a few lines, a paragraph, just basically what you ultimately want to get out of the whole band, the situation, the goal, what basically the goal is. And it could be something, you could say, we want to tour and record albums, and we want to make music our full-time gig. I mean, it could be as straightforward as that. It doesn't need to be any mysterious thing or poetic, or it doesn't need to be song lyrics. It needs to be, where do you want to take this? How do you see this kind of turning out? And then after you do the vision statement, what you kind of want to do is designate, this is important too, is designate a key point person for communication in the band. Preferably, in our band situation, I'm the key point person, and the reason why I am is because I'm able to communicate during the day. I have a day job where I can actually respond to emails, band emails, respond to band phone calls, voicemails, text messages, that sort of thing. So you want to make sure that you pick someone in the band to be the key point communication person who is able to do that. So if you have someone in the band who drives a truck or something, they may not be able to respond to an email or a voicemail or a phone call, or they have a certain job that prevents them from doing that, that makes it a little bit more difficult to kind of maintain the business side of it. And again, we'll talk about this a little further as we go along, but communication and timely communication is important. That's definitely, you're going to find in the music business that promoters, anyone you're working with, they work fast and they want information fast. So you've got to basically be on top of that and make sure someone is able to be responsive and communicate in a timely manner. So that's just something kind of as we go through the rest of the information in the video that we'll kind of just keep in mind. Make sure you're always keeping good communication, and that also goes for within the band itself. Make sure everyone's communicating. So if you need to get information about a show or something, can make sure everyone's as much as possible communicating with each other within the band. The next thing that we did was we incorporated. Now, depending on your state, it could be a little different. We did actually in Illinois, where we are, we did an LP, which is a limited partnership. So we filed for a limited partnership. So basically, our band members are all partners in our limited partnership. And what we had to do for that, for Illinois, was file a partnership agreement, which is basically, it's like a business agreement, a members agreement. And we actually had an attorney write it up for us. Now, it's really, one thing we learned with our attorney is they were trying to kind of look up a band partnership agreement and how you formulate a band partnership agreement. And really, it's just a partnership agreement. It's a business partnership agreement. And we have some, specific stuff in there that's related to a band situation. A couple examples. We have a statement that we all equally are, equal shareholders in the partnership. So we all have 25%. For us, that goes, there's 4 of us that goes for songs. We all share equal credit for all the songs, equal credit for, playing shows, as far as, the finances go, that sort of thing. We have things in there as far as who owns the song. So if one band member leaves or something, they may have a song that they wrote the lyrics on, and we could all have an agreement that, okay, that person gets to have that song, and that's their song, and they can take that with them. So again, write a partnership agreement. If you're doing an LLC, which is a limited liability company, I'm not sure about that, but I believe that probably requires some kind of similar agreement, like a partnership agreement or something like that. So you just want to get that written up. And then we used actually LegalZoom to file our paperwork through Illinois. We could have done it ourselves, but going through the government website and trying to figure out how you need to do all the paperwork and what forms exactly, and when to file them, and where to, it was kind of a little bit of a headache. So we actually used LegalZoom to file our paperwork. So basically, we provided our partnership agreement to LegalZoom, and then they did all the paperwork through the state with us. And I think overall we paid $400, I want to say, through LegalZoom. So it wasn't too bad to get all the paperwork filed. It wasn't too bad. And then we have to pay, through our state, an annual renewal fee to keep our partnership active, and that's $100. So we file that, it's basically at the beginning of every year we have to file the renewal for the partnership. So you want to make sure if you're doing anything like that, and depending on your state, keep up to date on that paperwork, and if you need to refile every year and keep it active, make sure again that whoever's the key point communication person or whoever is designated as responsibility for that, that they're keeping that up to date. So that's important. The other thing that we do with our band is we basically keep 3 documents that we save. One is a band journal, which is also noted in our partnership agreement, and that literally just is a document that we date. We have a date, and we say, okay, today we practiced, what partners were at the practice, and the date. And so we literally just keep a whole journal, keep shows on there. So if we play a show, everyone was present. All our band members were present for the show, what date it was, that sort of thing. Any activity, if you have a band meeting that, even if it's outside of a show or a practice or any type of thing, if you just meet up at a restaurant to talk about certain band things, put that in your journal. And just kind of related to all that, just keep accurate and keep that up to date and keep accurate information there. I also keep a spreadsheet just for band shows. So I write all the shows that we played, any shows that we have scheduled, just to keep track. It's also fun just to kind of look at, see, oh yeah, we played this place. It was a really cool show. We had fun or something, some kind of fun memory happened from that show. It's just kind of cool to have that list of all the cool places that you played. So keep a document of shows. And we also keep a spreadsheet of finances. So any money that we've earned, any money that we spent, where it went, we keep a band finance document. It just helps you track all that. Make sure that you're keeping track of all that in and out, money in and money out, where it's going. And it's not so much because we're trying to all be greedy or anything. It's just to keep track of all that finance. So if you need money for studio money, you can always know what you've got in the band account for studio, for anything like that. So that's important. Again, 3 documents that we keep: a band journal, a list of shows that we've played or that are scheduled, and finances. A document of all the finances, Excel spreadsheet. One thing we do too in the shows document, I should backtrack a little bit, is I keep contact information of certain venues. So if there's a specific contact person that that's our main point of contact for that venue, I just keep that information in there so we know if there's, if we need to communicate with them, if we're not going through a promoter. We know who to contact. If something changes, we know if they're contacting us, who it is, all that good information. So important, keep documents and keep them up to date and make sure, again, all goes to make sure whoever is responsible for that is able to do that on a regular basis, and they have, they're in a position where they can keep those documents up to date. The next thing related to incorporating is what we did is we registered our limited partnership with BMI, which is, you've probably heard of the term performing rights organizations. They're basically help collect royalties from your songs when they're played, if they're played at a restaurant or a bar. Now, obviously, our songs probably have not been played at a restaurant or a bar, but you want to register with the Performing Rights Organization. There's BMI, you've probably heard of ASCAP is one of them. So we registered our corporation with BMI for publishing rights or publishing royalties. And I think our fee was $250 to register with that. And it's a one-time fee for that. And then you want to register each band member individually as a songwriter. So that's a separate registration. And like I said, I'll link in the description, but you just go on there and you register. To register as a band member individually, it's free. There's no charge to that. The only fee you have to pay is when you register your corporation. So that's one thing you want to do is get registered with a performing rights organization. Like I said, BMI, ASCAP. I think there's a third one, which slips my mind right now, but there's another one as well. And I can't really tell you which one is better or worse. As far as I know, they're all very similar. So I wouldn't be able to tell you if BMI or ASCAP, what the difference, other than they're both performance rights organizations. So you just want to get registered with them. And then kind of going further, have a good website, obviously. But the key that some bands do is they do a Facebook and they do social media, which is great, but you also want to have a website, because the website you can control more, you have more control over the content on there versus social media. You're really just using their platform, and you don't really, I mean, they can filter stuff out, either accidentally or intentionally, or the data may not always appear the way you want it to appear. So it's definitely good to have social media, but also have a band website, and maintain it, keep everything up to date. We used actually Bandzoogle, and it's $10 a month. It's pretty cheap, and they have all kinds of templates you can choose from, and you upload your band photos. It's great, and one thing that's good about it is you don't have to have any web design skills. You can basically just manipulate. You can basically just freeform. It's freeform, so you just go enter information on there. It does all the website design and coding and aligning and all that stuff in the background, so you don't have to have, like I said, any web design skills. So get a good website, keep it up to date. Also keep your social medias up to date. Keep, and kind of just going with everything we've talked about so far, I think we mentioned it, keep organized. That's the key. Keep everything that you're doing organized. It can get messy if you just let things get a little bit out of control. So keep all your files organized, keep all your communications organized. It'll make your life so much easier if you do that. So again, just keep everything in check. Next thing I wanted to kind of talk about was if you're doing an album release. We used actually for our first EP, we're working on our second one right now. Our first EP, we used CD Baby, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of. And I think there's also TuneCore might be one of them, if I'm not mistaken. But we use CD Baby. I know there's a couple different ones out there, but we use CD Baby to do our actual album release. The first thing we did is once we got the songs recorded and the album finished and named, we actually filed a copyright with the Library of Congress for our album, which basically meant going on the Library of Congress's website, the copyright website. You basically name your album and upload MP3s of your tracks, and then you're basically filing a copyright. That was, I believe, for our 4-song EP, I think it was $55 to file that copyright, and it took about 3 months for them to actually send us the official notice document back with our copyright number and all that stuff. But you can file it, and then at least you're covered if you're at least you got it filed with the Library of Congress. You've probably heard of the term, what's they call it, poor man's copyright, which basically means they say basically mail a CD of your songs to yourself in the mail, and then it'll be dated from the postmark dated, and you've probably heard that's a way to copyright, but that's actually that actually doesn't hold up in court. Meaning, if you do that, you can't actually use the legal system to fight your copyright. If there was a copyright issue that you were going to take to court, you can't use the court system to fight a copyright if you don't actually have a Library of Congress copyright filed. So you want to make sure you do it. It's not that expensive, but it just covers you if with your songs. So again, like I said, I'll link this in the description below, all the stuff, so you have it, and then what sites to go to for that. And so, like I said, we did CD Baby. CD Baby's great because it shows you on your page. You can see stats on streams, where stuff's streaming, sales, that sort of thing. It shows you kind of all the statistics of how your album's performing. And kind of related to that is just promote as much as possible. We did. That's one thing that we're still working on. It's obviously always in this overall process, you're constantly learning. So we're learning and learning how to better promote ourselves, that sort of thing. Now, when we did our first album, we actually did a physical CD. Our first EP, I should say, we did a physical CD. So we actually sent a physical CD to CD Baby. We used actually disc makers to make our CD, and then we actually filed it with CD Baby. Now, from what I understand, CD Baby no longer has an actual store. They don't do if I'm not mistaken, they don't sell the CDs on the CD store anymore. But originally we did a physical CD, and we actually did it through Amazon Advantage, which I did separately, which is basically setting up a distribution through Amazon for our physical CD. We're not going to do that on this next album that we're finishing up, just because there's not much need for that anymore. CDs, obviously, people aren't buying as many CDs, so we're going to kind of skip that this time around. We're just going to go through CD Baby and do the digital distribution. CD Baby does all the digital platforms for you, so when you release an album through CD Baby, they put it on Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, or Apple iTunes, that sort of thing. So they do all that kind of legwork for you. So that's one way to when you're getting ready to release an album, find a site like CD Baby, or I think, like I said, TuneCore might be one of them. Find a site that does it, that handles all that for you. It just makes it a lot easier, and you don't have to try and figure out everything yourself. And I think we paid $35, I think, for our first album. I could be mistaken on that, for our first release through CD Baby. So it's not that expensive. It's relatively inexpensive for what you get. So I would say do something like that. Use a site instead of trying to figure it out all yourself. The last kind of topic I wanted to cover, which is sort of, you might not think it's related to the business side of music, but it is, and it's actually live shows or performing. And one of the things that we did, I actually learned this from, I went to the CD Baby conference that was in Nashville a couple years ago, or a few years ago, and I saw a presenter by the name of Tom Jackson, and he did a whole presentation with an actual live band, and he talked about it was basically about the choreography of your live show, and how it's you need to plan out your live show. And you think that it's not maybe something you need to do, but you'd be surprised how important that kind of is to do. And when you go to see, whatever your favorite band in concert, or whoever it is, you'd be surprised that you might not know they actually did that, because they make it look natural, but they actually, a lot of those artists have planned it out, and they worked on it in rehearsal and worked out their stage moves and their choreography. So Tom Jackson is the presenter that I saw, and he's got a book which I bought here. It's called Tom Jackson Live Music Method, All Roads Lead to the Stage. It's a great book. My band, we all kind of read it. We read things that that related to our specific, kind of what we do, as far as, like, they've got a section here about the lead vocalist and how to, certain ways to hold the microphone and manipulate the mic stand. I mean, it seems like it maybe is overkill, but it actually really makes a difference. And we've actually gotten, we've played some larger shows where we've actually gotten compliments from promoters about our live show and how it looked very polished, and we looked like we had a lot of chemistry on stage. And that was all by working on it. Again, Tom Jackson, Live Music Method, great book. The other book that that's kind of covers some stuff is Band Smart by Martin Atkins, a great book. This covers a lot of stuff on the music business, but it does cover some live show stuff, and how to, like, your merchandising, all that good stuff. So another great book that I bought in Nashville at the CD Baby conference. So always good to kind of look up, get information from books, and read and apply things that work for your specific band situation. Next thing about shows is, obviously, when you're communicating with a promoter or vendor, make sure you're responding in a timely manner. If there's text message or phone calls going back and forth, about show requests, or if someone's asking if you can play a certain show, make sure you're being responsive, be professional, communicate, and be on top of the communication. And that kind of goes overall with everything you're doing in the situation with this kind of your band situation. Communication with outside people and communication amongst your own band. Next thing kind of related to that is be everywhere and anywhere. play as many shows as you can, as long as they're not playing in a meat packing plant in the boondocks or something that's weird. Play every show, be everywhere and anywhere as much as possible. You would be surprised. We've played shows that we thought were going to be not very important, not very special, and they turned out to be great career boosters for us. So don't just reject shows because you think they might not be good. Think about that there may be someone there who can help advance your career, and you didn't even know it, or you wouldn't have known it if you hadn't have shown up there. So just be flexible and try and play as many shows as you can, and be willing to, again, like I said, be flexible as far as when you get there. If they want you to go on a slightly different time, make sure you're being on time. Make sure you're playing the time that you're asked to play. If they want you to play an hour set, make sure you do an hour set if you can. Or if you're playing a bar gig and you got to play 2 hours, stick to that time. Last thing you want to do is be one of those bands who doesn't fulfill your obligation or what you agreed upon. So that's just all with going kind of with the whole thing of being professional. Just overall in the music business, be professional. Be willing to listen to people and just kind of follow what they're saying, especially at a show. If you have a sound guy and he says turn down, or a club owner says, hey, you guys are too loud, can you turn down the bass guitar or something, just be on top of that stuff, and don't have an ego where you're not willing to be flexible on that. And I guess the final thing related to shows is don't overindulge. Don't be the guy who gets drunk before you go on stage and you got one sloppy band member who can't even stand up and play their instrument. That's obviously not good. So it all goes about being professional. And then kind of just in conclusion, just constantly learn, research, watch YouTube videos, read books, take information that's works for your situation and apply it. One thing we do in our band is if we find information that might be useful, one of us finds something, we'll text it to the group and say, hey, I found this article, it's got some good information about, something that we're working on or something that maybe we should start doing, and everyone should take a look at it. And then we kind of all read it and just talk about it. So there's a lot of good information out there on the internet, books, that sort of thing. Even if you, like I said, if you sign up for CD Baby, they even have some good PDF guides on CD Baby that are really helpful, and they have good, live streams where they talk about different aspects of the music business. So just do a lot of research and do a lot of homework. If you have any questions, that I can answer, we're still growing. Our band's still growing by all means. We're not, we haven't, I guess, made it, if you want to say that term. We're still learning and growing, but we're having fun, and just enjoy the journey. Put the work in. It's a lot of work, but if you're really willing to make it happen, you'll put the hard work in.